Now we're joined by another special guest on Inside the Ropes, a very prominent West Australian among many who are making waves in the world of golf at the moment. And we're joined by Jarryd Felton, who's deep in preparations for, now wait for it, Clates, the Nexus Risk TSA Group WA Open on the ISPS Hander PGA Tour of Australasia. What do you think of that? Thanks, Clates. We appreciate that.
Terrific.
Now, Jarryd, I introduced you 20 minutes before I started the title, but no, we're really grateful for Nexus Risk TSA Group joining the WA Open, and we're very grateful for you coming on board Inside the Ropes. I understand you've been a regular listener.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the show's taken off ever since it started, and yeah, it's been a great listen to.
Are you nervous about what we might get you out here? You have heard all the praise we've had for Hannah.
I'm very nervous.
How do you overcome these nerves out in the golf course, mate? That's where you're in your home zone. You're a renowned practicer, and you've had a very successful start to your own professional career. We won't hassle you about Hannah just yet.
No, it's been good. Obviously, the more you play, the more the nerves go away. So I'm starting to become a bit more confident, a bit more comfortable out there. So yeah, just getting on with it.
Are you doing any tour schools this year? Which is the obvious question for young pros who are.
So a week after the Open, I'm heading to second stage of Europe.
Okay, right. So you're exempt into the second stage?
Yeah, yep.
Beautiful. So where are they playing that?
That's in Spain.
Where in Spain?
There's 4 courses.
Okay.
So yeah, you just get drawn out of a hat, and whichever one you get, you got to head on over to. Any
other mates you're going over there with for that?
Well, I've got one of my mates from my golf club. He's going to caddy for me. So, but yeah, there's a few Aussies going over. So hopefully we get paired up at a couple of the courses and we can stay together and sort it all out.
And Europe, not America. Talk us through that one, Jarryd.
I went to both last year, and the second stages clash. So you can't do second stage of Webb and second stage of Europe. So I chose Webb last year, didn't succeed, and really just didn't enjoy it as much. So I'm going to give Europe a go this year.
So philosophically, you think Europe might fit you better from a personal point of view as well?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously with the Australian tour now, with all the events we've got now co-sanctioned with Europe, it's kind of a no-brainer really. If we can get our European tour card and guarantee those starts on the Aussie tour and those European co-sanctioned events, then yeah, we can definitely got more of a chance of retaining a card.
Does being in Perth factor into that, mate? Does it make you think, it's really hard to play in the States if you ever want to come home, and it's cheaper to get to, or quicker to get to, the Middle East and Asia and Europe itself?
Definitely Asia, obviously, because it's so close for us. But I mean, it's by the time you get to London from Perth, it's 20, 25 hours or something. Add another 4 on from Melbourne. It's not really 4 hours these days. It's not really that much. We're kind of used to the travel, so it doesn't really factor in the travel as much. It's just, probably more so the co-sanctioning with the Aussie tour with Europe now is just so strong.
Plus, I guess Qantas have that one stop now, don't they, from Perth to London?
Yes, that comes in March. March of next year. It's going to be 18 hours direct.
Which would be pretty nice for you. It'd be perfect, really.
Yeah, it would be perfect. Just one plane, straight to London.
Magnificent. Jarryd, you've had that, what I've described previously about other people, a very happy knack. You're not ever too far away, I wouldn't say, but you bob, when you bob up into contention, you have a very happy knack of saluting, winning tournaments when you get into the mix in the final day. Why is that possible for you as opposed to others who can battle away for years and not salute?
I'm not too sure why that is the case, but I guess playing a lot of the professional tournaments as an amateur definitely helps, just getting and playing golf with the pros, and I guess feeling comfortable when you're out there and not feeling as if you don't belong. And then obviously when you turn pro, it's just a title really, and you're just going out there to try and win the golf tournament. And yeah, I've just felt comfortable since day one really.
Mate, you've won the New Zealand the PGA this year, and you also won the New South Wales PGA back in 2015. You've made bigger checks than both those two in other results without winning. What's more important to you as a young pro? Is it just getting the wolves from the door with the cash, or is it actually getting those titles on your resume?
I'd say the titles, definitely. Lifting trophies is probably one of the best feelings as a professional golfer. Obviously saying that you won the event a fantastic feeling of holding the trophy. Obviously, winning the cash is great, but I think holding trophies is definitely number one goal.
Hey, Jarryd, how does Royal Perth fit your eye this week? Because I'm not sure which club you came out of in Perth, but I'm sure you played there many times. How does it fit?
So I'm out of Gosnells Golf Club, which is it's about 20 minutes south of Royal Perth. But Royal Perth's a great course. Head superintendent there, Michael Dennis, obviously been a state player for numerous years. He always gets the course in magnificent condition. Green's always rolling really fast. It's quite tight, but because it's in such a small area, all the holes are really close together, so you can kind of a bomber's paradise. You can kind of bomb away and be on the other fairways, so it's not too bad in that regard.
And one of the things, I said we'd delay the grief that we were going to give to you about Hannah Green, but for those who don't know, Jarryd's partner is Hannah Green. They've been together for quite a long time now. Hannah's pegging it up in the WA Open, Jarryd, and I understand you might be just a little bit nervous that she might just get the better of you.
I'm very nervous, don't worry.
Are you legitimately nervous, or are you just saying that to keep the peace?
No, I'm legitimately nervous.
Is it because of the course, because of the short nature, the small footprint of the land there?
Yeah, definitely. Royal Perth isn't long, but it is quite tight, and obviously Hannah hits it straight, and I may hit a few offline.
Mind you, it's long by LPGA standards. For those who don't know, LPGA stands for lob wedge, pitching wedge, gap wedge, all day tour, because they insist on playing 6,500 yard courses, which is a joke when you consider Lexi Thompson hits at 280 yards. So, what's Royal Perth? 6,700 yards probably. So 6'2" meters, 6'1".
If that, yeah. I know Hannah played around Royal Freo, which is probably a little bit longer, and she struggled a bit with the length there, but I don't think she'll struggle at all around Royal Perth with the length.
Hey, Jarryd, are you surprised at what she's done? She's won 3 years on her first year on the Symetra Tour in America, and obviously locked up her card for next year LPGA. Does that surprise you? Because I can remember talking to people about Hannah in Golf Australia, sort of amateur circles 3 or 4 years ago, and they weren't quite sure whether she really wanted to get out and be a pro golfer and stuff like that. So it seems to me that she's really gathered momentum a little bit later than some of the others.
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I knew she always had the game, and she's always had the work ethic to be able to do it, but she was playing amateur golf in a pretty competitive stage there. I mean, you had Sue and Minjee.
Suo and Minjee Lee, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look where they are right now. They're already on the LPGA, so she was obviously playing good golf, but she was up against some pretty high-quality players, so it was tough to kind of get your name out there as much. But
so I guess if she was sort of struggling to compete with those two in particular, she was thinking, well, am I good enough? She was maybe questioning whether she was actually good enough.
I wouldn't say she was struggling. She was still playing really well. It was because they were maybe a little bit higher up in the rankings and stuff. But she had obviously Minjee turned pro, and then Hannah kicked on from there. She was winning everything, representing Australia. Obviously went to tour school, missed out, and then sat down and had a plan to go out there on the Symetra Tour and get a tour card, and that's what she's done. She's done really well. And
have you caddied for her a few times, different places?
Yeah, I actually managed to pop over when she was playing in New York, and I watched her play, and yeah, she's definitely grown up to be a great young girl.
What's going to happen at home, mate, if she beats you? Let all the listeners in on this.
I may retire.
This could be the end. Jarryd Felton.
She's not beating him. Just come on, seriously.
You reckon he's just playing this?
Of course he is. He beat her by 5 shots around.
Wow,
that's a big call.
Come on, mate. You know that. Well, 260s. If she shot 272s and you shot 267s, that's what you should shoot there. And 272s for her would be pretty good off the men's tours at Royal Perth, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You take 272s for sure.
Yeah, and you can shoot 267s there without any problem at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Clates has reinstilled your confidence. That's good to hear.
Yeah, Clates has given me the confidence booster.
You'll be fine, mate. Don't stress about it.
He'll build you up. I'll chop you down. No, I would never do that to you, mate. No.
What do you talk about when you're at home? Do you talk about golf all the time, or do you talk about everything else but golf?
Obviously, it's hard not to talk about golf, but we try and keep away from it as much as we can. But yeah, it's kind of obviously she's coming home now, and she's obviously trying to plan for the rest of the year. She'll have a bit of time off, and then obviously next year is going to be pretty full on, and hopefully for myself it'll be full on as well. So yeah, who knows what can happen.
How do long distance relationships work in this era when it's so much easier to communicate? I mean, when I was married, but Debbie and I were, I mean, she was on the other side of the world, but I remember sending telexes, which for people who remember what telexes were, they weren't the best way to communicate, and phone calls cost fortunes, and flying home was expensive. And now the world's such a small place that I'm assuming it's much easier to have a relationship with someone when you're on opposite sides of the world. It's Skype and phone calls are cheaper and emails, and it must be so much easier to stay in touch.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot easier. You got Facebook and Skype and FaceTime, all that sort of stuff, and you just call. No problems, just using the internet now. So yeah, it's not a problem at all.
Clates, would have been pretty hard to send a racy telex.
A racy telex, yeah. Stop. Dot. Need sex. Stop.
You didn't do that.
I knew we'd go down this path at some stage, Jarryd.
Yeah.
Mate, tell us about the Nexus Risk TSA Group WA Open Field. It's a beauty. It's an absolute beauty as I scramble to get this ship straightened out again. There's a whole heap of excellent Australian professionals there, most notably all the quality European Tour players from Western Australia specifically.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I think Scriv and Rummy are coming back. Gossie's coming home, and so is Curtis. So obviously you got Jimmy and all the other boys playing. So it's actually a really quality field. It's going to be a great event.
How do you rate your chances? In all honesty, we've joked about Hannah's place in the field, but you are a legitimate contender here, coming off a bit of a breather after Fiji, where you played pretty well. Yeah, I played well in Fiji and then played okay at Darwin, and it's been good to kind of have a bit of a break. I was crook for about 2 weeks. I didn't move too much, but I definitely rate my chances pretty highly. I enjoy Royal Perth and hopefully get off to a good start. And you're back, mate. It's probably hasn't come out too much, I suppose, in your professional career because you've managed it beautifully. But towards the end of your amateur career, you had probably a recurrence at least of a pretty serious back injury. And I understand your coaches and your medical staff at the time basically said you had to work 4 times harder in the gym than anyone else just to keep those problems at bay. Is that still the case? Yeah, definitely. I still have ongoing problems with my hip. Both my hips, obviously, when I was young, I had some issues there and some surgeries, so my back kind of plays up a bit. But I've definitely learnt to manage it a lot better. Playing amateur golf in the US and Europe and flying around definitely taught me how to manage it better for my pro career. It's definitely getting better. And mate, I understand. You've been a tremendous representative on Golf Western Australia teams over the years before you turned pro. We've asked everyone else this question, so it'd be probably rude of us not to ask you. You just mentioned a wave of people coming through, plus all the amateurs still on the books there, and including and probably highlighted by Min Woo Lee. What's going on over there? I guess it's because we're all just such close mates. We've got great coaches over here, and we just push each other. Obviously, with Curtis is out there playing PGA Tour events this year, and we all want to get out there. So we all want to try and beat Curtis, and obviously he's back playing the WA Open next week, so we want to try and test ourselves against him this week. And obviously Gossie was out there playing web.com and coming back, and Rummy and Scriv on European Tour. So the guys who we've played against amateur golf are all out there doing it, so why can't we, I guess, and work harder and get on there ourselves. Have you had a chat to Ollie just before we let you go? I haven't spoken to him too much since he's been back, but definitely looking forward to catching up with him. I can't wait to talk to him at some stage this summer. Ollie Goss, yeah. Yeah, it's just a fascinating story, Ollie Goss. I mean, he sort of burst onto the scene 5 or 6 years ago in the Australian Masters at Kingston Heath, I believe it was. Yeah, when he played with Adam Scott and Graham McDowell. That's right, yeah. And he sort of slowly but surely sort of faded away a little bit from national prominence, but he still seems to have that fire in the belly, so I can only assume that he's going to put his best foot forward at Royal Perth. Yeah, definitely. It just shows how fickle professional golf is. He had his events on the PGA Tour, just missed out on a card. On the web.com tour, just missed out on the playoff series 1 year, then didn't retain his card, and then played in Canada, and then it's just kind of been a spiral down. But yeah, it just shows you how fickle professional golf is and how much it takes to that next step, and then how quickly you can go back down. And we saw Curtis Luck win this tournament last year and really kick it on. So we hope for your sake, mate, and others around you in the young developing Western Australian golf community that you can take that next step next week at Royal Perth. And we'd like to thank you very much, Jarryd Felton, not only today but for your young career, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
See you, Jarryd.
Thanks, mate.
G'day, I'm My Golf Ambassador Jason Day. I'm really excited to be an ambassador for My Golf, Australian Golf's national junior program, jointly run by Golf Australia and the PGA. My Golf is every Aussie kid's first step on their golfing pathway. It's all about teaching children the basic skills of golf in a safe and healthy environment, and just as importantly, about the life skills that golf can teach you that distinguish our sport from the rest. Remember to visit mygolf.org.au for more information.
Hi, this is Aaron Price, and October is Golf Month. Golf Month is the perfect time to share with your family and friends, so get out there this October and have a go.